Everyone on the planet wants to be as happy as humanly possible. However, most of us look for happiness in a very ineffective way. In this video, I will be talking about how there's an unrealistic expectation of being happy in society, why you simply cannot be happy all the time, and a better way of feeling it in the first place. So, a disclaimer, real quick, when we talk about happiness and not being happy does not necessarily mean being sad, angry, anxious, or what other emotions that are considered to be negative. All right, that being said, let's continue. If humans had the capability to be happy all the time, we would all want to do it. We'd all sign up for that. However, it don't be like that. All day long, we have a wide array of different emotions that we feel that all have one thing in common, and that is that they do not last for long, including our pal happiness. But let's pretend that you could feel happiness indefinitely, and you had those particular chemicals responsible for happiness that just kept flowing through your brain. And this unfortunately brings us to what is called the law of diminishing returns, which basically means the pleasure or satisfaction or even profit, if you're talking about money, starts to decline the more we do or experience that one thing. So let's give a couple examples to help illustrate this law. Drugs, for instance, when people start doing a particular drug, it feels very good. But over time, to feel that same level of pleasure that person felt when they first started using the drug, they have to consume much more. And often you hear with addicts that it gets to the point where there's almost no pleasure at all, no matter how much they consume. Or a vacation. Let's try something else. You look forward to going to a cool spot in the world, and you go, and if you were to go onto that trip long enough, maybe a couple weeks or maybe even a couple months, you would eventually want to go home. The point is, if we were somehow given that magic switch of happiness to constantly be turned on, those feelings of happiness would decline the more we become used to those happiness chemicals in the brain. Of course, I don't know the neuroscience behind it, but the underlying principle is valid, which means we would have to produce more happiness chemicals to have that same level of feeling. It's not possible for us to feel happiness all the time. And I bring this up because when we break it down like that, I personally feel like a sense of relief because it seems as if there's an enormous pressure on people today to always be happy and to be, doing good. And if we are not happy or doing good, then are we doing something wrong? And we start to question what is wrong with me? Why am I not as satisfied as all those people that I follow on Instagram? So what do? We happiness seek. We look to fill that void. And we're all on the hunt for it because we don't have that VIP access to happiness that we were just talking about. We become happiness seekers, constantly looking for something to give us that next rush or hit of happiness. And even constantly seeking for this happiness can be a very unpleasant endeavor. We often put so much pressure on ourselves. For example, if we were to throw a party, which is supposed to be fun, we worry about everyone having a great time. If we were on an expensive vacation, there's so much pressure to have a good time there because we spent so much money to do it. And constantly being inundated with various social media feeds of how others are having amazing lives and, well, what's so great about my life? Which then, of course, sparks the desire to share whatever we are doing when something is somewhat fun, even if it was just kind of okay, just to make it feel like we are staying current, staying up with everyone else. We have it ingrained in Western culture that external good things must happen for us to enjoy our lives. And this is simply not true and not the full picture. This attitude of needing external things to give us happiness takes away our self-control of it. We often cannot control the outside world, and so when things do not go our way, we become disappointed and let down. And in this way, happiness is something we lose control of if we limit ourselves to only feeling it when good things happen that are outside of ourselves, which may not happen very often. So what can we do about this instead? Gratitude. If being a happiness seeker is an endless, exhausting pursuit, I can tell you that a part-time job to this with very little effort is gratitude. If we come to realize that being grateful for not only what we have, but for things that have not happened to us, we would be far better off. The ability to have running water, for instance. Say that's something that you have, and I'm dangerously assuming, but imagine not having that. Literally, take 20 seconds and imagine if you had to walk a mile every day to fill up 2 buckets of water to survive. Because that is unfortunately the reality for some people in the present world, and also true for some of your ancestors if you go far back enough. You can do this same mental exercise with all of the many blessings that we have and take for granted. For instance, your cell phone, the greatest library of knowledge the world has ever seen, that's just come out in the last 20 years, and we don't even think about it. A refrigerator to store food for days on end. Electricity to power almost everything we use. And imagine not having one of those things. Or your health. Scan your entire body and know that there is a health condition for every single area and system of your body. And be thankful for the parts that do work. We do not need to always chase external pleasures to make us feel good. And often when we operate in this way, we give up our control for happiness, since most things outside of our immediate vicinity of who we are don't go our way to begin with. And understand that there is a unrealistic expectation. Understand there is an unrealistic expectation to constantly be happy based on the media we consume on a daily basis. And know that it is not humanly possible to feel strong, positive emotions all the time. You need those downtimes to really appreciate the good. As the rapper 50 Cent once said, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. And that's true. And lastly, gratitude, something you can always go back to for happiness. Take time to appreciate not only the good things in your life, but being grateful that certain bad things have not happened to you, at least yet. For none of us knows when our time's going to come to an end. So let's appreciate this moment, the only one that we have, and that's totally something to be grateful for. Thanks for watching.